A very happy Wednesday to all of you. And I was so hoping to introduce you to my dear friend, Dr. Joy, in parenthesis, Carver, but we've been having some technical difficulties. So what I wanted to share with all of you is what happens when your guest that you are so excited to have and you've been speaking to you, for whatever reason, there's some block with StreamYard and Safari. So what we decided to do was, instead of getting panicked and getting upset and getting more fraught about it, in half an hour, I'm going to record an interview with her, which I will then bring you. But in the meanwhile, I didn't want to disappoint people who were joining me to talk about the concept of emotional intelligence. So I'm going to share my thoughts about emotional intelligence today, and then I will post my wonderful interview with Dr. Joy, who is a diversity and inclusion guru and an O&D specialist and just a remarkable person. But let's start off with the concept of emotional intelligence. So it's a buzzword, you're all very familiar with it, but what does it really mean? So broken down, emotional intelligence is self-awareness. Number one, central to emotional intelligence is self-awareness, and then drive. And then there's acute social skills and empathy. So emotional intelligence is a combination of many factors. But let's talk about how critical these qualities, these capabilities are in your business, in your career, in growing your career and your business. So we speak about soft skills, the interpersonal skills, and yes, they are critical. Because at the end of the day, people do business with people that they like and that they trust. So as you're listening to this, rate your so-called emotional intelligence. So your ability to deal skillfully with a difficult situation, your ability to deal with people who are different from you, both in terms of personality style, background, ethnicity. So think about emotional intelligence versus intellectual quotient. So when we look at the two brilliant scientists that are hopefully bringing us a vaccine, it's actually a fascinating story because it's a Turkish guy and his German wife. I'm fascinated by their relationship, their marriage, their collaboration. So a certain level of acumen and brilliance in creating this vaccine. So IQ. Then it comes to emotions. So as you continue to develop your career, and Harvey Coleman put this so well. Harvey Coleman speaks famously about a pie, is that your career is made up of your performance, technical capabilities, your image, and your exposure. Now, if we've got two resumes, two people with the same qualifications, the same technical capabilities, then it becomes about image. Are you a team player? Are you somebody other people like to work with? Are you accountable? How do you deal with stress? And then exposure. Who do you have relationships with outside of your immediate silo? Harvey Coleman goes on to say the higher up you get in an organization, the more it becomes about your image and your exposure, the importance of your emotional intelligence, your ability to galvanize, to motivate others, your ability to be aware of when you're sabotaging yourself. So all of these factors come into play. And one of the things that I talk about in my workshops and my keynotes is the diversity of personality style. So are you fast-paced and outspoken? Are you more thoughtful and reserved? Or what shade in between? Because we're all coming to the world from a different point of view. And philosopher Varela said it best, we see the world not as it is, but as we are. So how capable are you of seeing the world from another person's point of view? I had a fascinating interview last week with Natan Sharansky. Natan Sharansky is a very famous Jewish activist who grew up in the Soviet Union. He was known as a refusenik. He's just written a book called Never Alone with a famous presidential historian, Gil Troy. And I interviewed the two of them, and something that stood out that Natan Sharansky said is, he spoke about the analogy of chess, the black and the white of the chess pieces, right? And he said when he was in the gulag, when he was in prison for 9 years, he used to play chess in his head, which was very interesting because everybody's talking about the Queen's Gambit, which is on Netflix, which really has revived interest in chess. But he said one of the things metaphorically we all have to do is, if we are playing with black pieces, we have to see the white side. And if we're playing with the white chess pieces, we have to see the black side. And he said it's so important in chess that you can look at the board from the opponent's point of view, and how important that is in life. What an analogy. So that reminder, that ability to see the world from another person's point of view, emotional intelligence. As we grow our careers, as we grow our businesses, we need to really ensure that our emotional intelligence is activated. So on this Wednesday, all I ask each and every person to do is, in every interaction, today, tomorrow, be it virtual or in person, and most of ours now are still virtual, ask yourself, am I taking a moment and seeing it from another person's point of view? I'm working with a company now that's in Israel, and a lot of their employees are in India and America. And we were talking about, do we, given our culture, look at the culture of the other? Do we take the time to say, how do you want to be communicated with? Do we really listen? That's emotional intelligence. And then, and I stress this so much, how do we deal with adversity? How do we deal with conflict? Do we deal with it emotionally intelligently? In other words, and I give you this gift today, which is a 3-step process. If you ever find yourself angry or upset, and that is to stop, challenge, and choose. So what does that mean? You get an email that really invokes a reaction in you of anger. Stop, challenge. What's really going on here? What is the purpose of this person? What's going on with them? What did they really mean? Because often our interpretation of the story is not the truth. So we stop, we challenge, and then we choose the most evolved, most intelligent way of responding. So emotional intelligence matters as we continue to grow ourselves, our businesses, and our careers. And for the last couple of months, I've been doing virtual presence training, and emotional intelligence activated on a virtual platform requires so much more intentionality. It requires that you listen more, that you take more time. So I hope you have an emotionally intelligent Wednesday. I have lots more on all of these topics on my YouTube channel and my website, nadiaspeaks.com. And I love the quote from the philosopher Honoré de Balzac. He says, there is no greater impediment to getting on well with other people than being ill at ease with yourself. And that's the part on self-awareness that is the cornerstone of emotional intelligence. I'm Nadia Bilchik. It's been a pleasure joining you on this Wednesday. For more information, please go to nadiaspeaks.com.